Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It is your boy David from Top Bunk Sports, and I got my guy Randy from Randy Talks Mets. De lo mío, creo que.
Dilo, man. Dilo, what's up, man? Yeah, man, we're here to talk Mets baseball. We're here to get into it, bro.
Facts. Well, before we get into Mets baseball, let's obviously get into the craziness that happened in Game 7 of the 2025 World
Woo.
Series between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. Bro, what a game that was. What a game that was, back and forth. I mean, I had Toronto winning that game like that. As soon as they took the lead, I was like, and the Dodgers, you could kind of tell were creeping in a little bit, little by little, but they didn't all attack in one. And I was like, damn, okay. I was like, Toronto might take this shit. So for some reason in the back of my head, right before they went into the top of the ninth inning and they put Jeff Hoffman in there, I said, yo, it would be some shit if Jeff Hoffman loses his lead. And the one guy out of anybody in that lineup, we're talking about a journeyman. We're talking about a vet who doesn't really have anything crazy on his career. Got his one moment and tied it up with a solo shot in Miguel Rojas. Like that's the shit that you live for. Like Miguel Rojas could retire today and he has his moment. He has his moment, he has his ring. Like, bro, that's the type of shit that you live for. And then they end up going to extra innings. Will Smith hits a bomb to give him the lead. And that was all she wrote, man. That was all she wrote. They put Yamamoto in there to close the game, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are back-to-back world champs, bro. How'd you feel about that game?
Yo, bro, I thought it was one of the craziest World Series I ever watched, bro. To be honest with you, like I wanted Vlad to win his first championship. I really wanted it. Toronto had a good team. They were competitive. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers won. Now you could talk about the mistake with Addison Barger at second base to end the game in Game 6. That was really awful. You could talk about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa not taking enough of a lead in Game 7 because, man, I mean, you could win a game like this, and you could talk about just overall the World Series because, like, they had an 18 inning game. It was insane. What a series! Yamamoto, credit to Yamamoto for doing his thing. I mean, pitching in 3 games in the World Series, very, very impressive. I think when it comes to the Dodgers, they're the champs again. You had Freddie Freeman, Kike, everybody. Like it's just Clayton Kershaw pitching his last game. You had Blake Snell. Everybody was on deck. I was saying it was hands on deck, like all hands on deck, because I knew they were going to use all these pitchers, like Blake Snell, Yamamoto, all these guys. Even if Yamamoto pitched yesterday, like you can't make it up, man. You really can't make it up. It was craziest World Series I've ever saw. Um, but Toronto just couldn't get the job done at the end of the day. And I know for baseball, we really wanted the Blue Jays to win rather than the Dodgers, but they're the new big bad, David. They're the new big bad.
I
So
mean, it's like Kike said, man. They're the new dynasty. They're the new dynasty. They got the weapons. They got the best players on that team. And for so much criticism that Dave Roberts gets, man, he seems to put this team in position to win day in and day out. And it's just the honest truth. The Mets were in that same position. I don't think, we'd obviously be getting hate, but I wouldn't complain. I would not complain at all. You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta tip your cap to the Dodgers. They did it their way and they won. You know what I'm saying? They are back to back champs. They could probably be champs next year if the fucking Mets, don't put their foot down. But speaking of the Mets, a horrible ending to the season. Um, where all you needed to do was win one game and have Cincinnati lose. And it's funny because Cincinnati did lose, but guess what? We lost. So we didn't make the playoffs. David Stearns comes out, has his press conference, basically holding himself accountable to an extent, talking about urgency, and basically just saying, Steve Cohen came out on a tweet and basically said like, "Yo, we're gonna do whatever we can to take a look at this." The first thing that they did was clean house with the coaching staff. No more Jeremy Hefner, which I don't see why Met fans are still trying to figure out why that's happening. I know content creators are out there talking about, well, that was a shocker to me. Why? Well, what has Jeremy Hefner really done as a pitching coach for the New York Mets? He really hasn't done anything. That's number one. Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes. Well, Eric Chavez for the most part is gone, and Jeremy Barnes is gone as well. Which is you. I've told you many times.
Yeah.
I, I've wanted their job gone since May. So, and people were telling me that I was overreacting, but I was like, no, it's not that I'm overreacting. Every time the Mets find a way to be inconsistent offensively, it doesn't change. It tends to keep going and going and going and going. Like last year, he was lucky to have a veteran like JD Martinez to really give him the advice that they did, which is why I didn't really credit, Eric Chavez or Jeremy Barnes for what they were doing as hitting coaches. I was giving that to JD Martinez. So now that they finally woke up and smelled the coffee with those two, they finally put their foot down and was like, "Yo, we can't have that. We cannot have that." Um, Antoine Richardson, a guy that was very important to Juan Soto and the rest of the team in terms of base running, in terms of connection, right? Because we've heard other players on the team like Lindor, like Nimmo, even Pete to a certain extent, talk so much about Antoine Richardson, and for him not to be back is very hard. It's heartbreaking to me because
Mhm.
if I'm the president of baseball operations and I'm noticing that, right? Why would I want to break up a bond between a first base coach and a player? Now, granted, I know people are gonna be like, well, maybe Antoine wanted a bigger role. That's cool. I've Listen. I ain't know. It's wrong of me to say that I shouldn't. He shouldn't go get that, right? But at the same time, it's like it almost feels like they didn't really try their hardest to try to bring him back, and we don't know the full details. But give me your take on the whole cleaning house thing, the whole situation with Antoine Richardson, and all that.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm happy they cleaned house. I'm happy they got rid of who they got rid of. I mean, Jeremy Hefner, it was time. I think they need a new fresh face. It is what it is. Hopefully Justin Willard or whatever his name is will be good. Um, but they need to get better. They got to get better coaching staff guys, better coaching in general, because like you said, Eric Chavez, I mean, I know
Right.
how you feel about him. I mean, he's hard. He was just also like the two hitting coaches thing. I didn't feel like that was good for that. That's a good thing for a team if they don't agree with each other. And I felt like Jeremy Barnes and Eric Chavez, they didn't really agree with each other. But overall, Eric Chavez, I think he's just an immature guy. Um, so I'm happy that he's gone. And hopefully these new coaches can, coach well, overall coach well. Um, well, we see that Stearns is bringing in this like analytics coaching base, like he's bringing in the guys that he wants. You got Kai Carrera. Um, well, I mean, we'll see what happens because Kai Carrera is an analytics guy, and he's the bench coach. You got Justin Willard, as pitching coach. I mean, we'll see what happens, but overall, we just got to see action. We got to see action.
Right, and bringing in Kai Correa, I know kind of ruffled some feathers, uh, because of the analytics, and fans want them to get away from analytics, right? So it's pretty interesting to see the direction that he's going already. But shout out to my guy Master Flip. He said checking in. Flip, appreciate you, appreciate the 29 that is in here,
My guy
watching
Flip.
us while we just have a regular conversation. Again, this is the first video that we're doing on the off season. How the offseason approaches, it's going to be interesting to tell based on what David Stearns has said in that end of the season press conference. So I just want to read you a little bit of an article on ESPN right here by Jeff Passan. where he said Mets named Kai Correa as bench hitting coach. Alberto oversees hitting. So the New York Mets are remaking their major league staff by after they fell short of a postseason berth, naming a new bench coach and lead hitting coach. The Mets have hired Kai Correa as their bench coach. The team announced Wednesday Correa will be manager Carlos Mendoza's right hand man and comes to New York after a previous stint as a bench coach and interim manager in San Francisco and serving as an inaugural part of Cleveland's coaching staff in 2024. Jeff Albert, the Mets director of hitting development, will serve as the team's lead hitting coach in 2026 and be in uniform. The Mets said his new title will be director of Major League Hitting. Albert was formerly the hitting coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. Albert, 44, joined the Mets in November 2022 and has worked in development Cap City, helping the team rebuild a system that it has its strongest group of hitting prospects in years. He also spent 6 years with the Houston Astros, where he worked with the Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns. The Mets plan to bring in another hitting coach to complement Albert, sources said, which is obviously Troy Snicker. We'll get into that right after.
Yeah.
After they fired hitting coaches Jeremy Barnes and Eric Chavez as part of the staff revamp that also included the departures of pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, bench coach John Gibbons, and third base coach Mike Sorabro, and catching coach Glenn Sherlock. Following the 45-24 start, the Mets over the final created over the season's finals 3.5 months and finished 83-79, losing a tiebreaker to the Cincinnati Reds for the final National League wild card spot. And then it says, obviously, the Mets offense finished 10th in the major league in runs scored and returned most of their young core, including outfielder Juan Soto, shortstop Francisco Lindor, outfielder Brandon Nimmo, first baseman Pete Alonso said he plans to opt out of his contract, obviously as that came out. But then when we go into the final uh, hitting coach for the staff, which was mentioned in Jeff Passan's article, right? It says here, and this article was by the Mets insider Anthony DeComo. The Mets made another significant staff addition on Monday, bringing in Troy Snicker as a hitting coach, according to a source. The club has not yet confirmed, which they did. Snicker, 36, will serve under Jeff Albert's team's recently promoted director of hitting. The tandem, those who will replace Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes, the Mets co-hitting coaches last season. Jesus Christ. Last season, the son of former Braves manager Brian Snicker, Troy Snicker has spent the past 7 seasons as one of Houston's hitting coaches. He won a World Series with the Houston Astros in 2022, but the team declined to renew his contract after an injury revamped 2025 campaign that saw them lose superstar Yordan Alvarez for much of the season. In New York, Snicker and Albert will work to improve an offense that finished sixth in the major leagues in OPS of .753 and tied for ninth in runs per game, which with 4.73. So again, I would say that this is more of an analytic driven.
Mm-hmm.
And my bad, I thought I put the article up there. I was kind of reading it, and I didn't get to put the article, but this was the article, like I said, from Anthony DeComo on MLB.com.
Mm-hmm.
So Troy Snicker obviously has a little bit of a background in terms of success when it comes to hitting. He was part of the World Series champions Houston Astros in 2022. So that means he was able to take a young Jeremy Pena, a veteran like Jose Altuve, from what he's learned from previous head coaches, Yordan Alvarez, who, like they said, they didn't, he had injuries, so the Astros wanted to go in a different way. But a lot of the great numbers that they had that year in terms of offense came from him. Um, he helped that system. And again, this is David Stearns bringing in guys that he's personally comfortable with, that he knows how they work. Again, David Stearns used to be the baseball president of baseball operations in Houston. So with him trying to bring those comfortable pieces, not only do you get younger, not only do you get fresh new minds in there, right? But you get guys that have, well, within Troy Snicker's case, a guy that is proven, and for him to lead the way for this offense to be much better. Your thoughts on the hitting coaches so far?
Well, I think when you're bringing in someone of a winning pedigree, I approve of it. He won the championship in 2022 with the Astros. That was good. I think, like you said, Jeremy Pena. You got Yordan Alvarez. You got Altuve. You got those guys, and he's worked with those guys. But it's good that he saw a winning pedigree, and he's coming from a winning pedigree. So I think that's a big
Right.
thing. And this is a guy that had success. And overall, all you can hope is that this success, you bring some success to the Mets.
Right.
Overall, I think a hitting coach is important, but the players got to execute. And if the players don't execute, then nothing's going to happen. So we saw a lot of struggles with the Mets in 2025. They weren't hitting with runners in scoring position. It was one of the worst teams with runners in scoring position. You saw a lot of miscommunication between the hitting coaches and the players. You saw the fans, trying to get these guys out of here. But if a Troy Snicker, the son of Brian Snicker, if he can help these guys, then I have no problem with it. At the end of the day, we got to see action, and we got to see results. You know how New York is. I mean,
Right.
we believe in results. That's what we believe in. And
Right.
if this guy can bring that, then great, man, because we need to win and we need better. I feel like we need better hitting philosophies. I think we do. From what I've seen.
Right. My question to you, where are you within the team and them following analytics? Because there are a lot of fans that don't think that they should be following analytics, that they should just go straight to original and just following on, mechanical
Yeah.
hitting instead of looking at analytics. Where are
Um,
you on that?
I think every baseball team is going to use analytics.
Right.
But if the Mets want to go heavy on analytics, then I can't really stop them at the end of the day. I think you look at a team like the Blue Jays, who we just talked about, who was in the World Series. That's a team that they do analytics as well. Like they're into analytics, but not as much. And they just try to put the ball in play, try to do things, little small things. That's what I really liked about the Blue Jays and seeing those teams, the little things, and hitting with runners in scoring position, that type of stuff. But for the Mets, I think analytics, David Stearns is an analytics guy. We are going to hear so much about analytics. And I think at the end of the day, I don't think it needs to be the be all end all when it comes to their approach with the analytics. But if you can use analytics and just use your eye, like just for it to be simple, like, put the bat on the ball. Don't try to chase out of the strike zone. That type of
Right.
stuff. Like if you can use it to your benefit, then cool. But if it's hurting the team, then I'm not going to be a fan of it. But I think from what I'm hearing also in the minors, a guy like Jet Williams, he did an interview the other day. I think it was with Metcast, and he was talking about everything that they do. Everything that they do is analytics. So they pushing analytics on these kids, and at the end of the day, that's what they want to do. So I just hope that leads to success.
Right. Right. Do you think that these guys are what do you think is going to be the difference within what like Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes have I've taught in the past compared to what these guys are gonna teach? Like, what do you
Oh
think will
well,
be a little bit different?
so from what I feel like from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing and all that stuff about Jeff Albert, I think everything is gonna go on the final say of Jeff Albert. Is not gonna be like this co-hitting coach thing. I think Jeff Albert is gonna have the final say on how the hitting approach is. Now, Troy Snicker is coming in not to be a puppet, but he's coming in to be help with a Jeff Albert. And but the final decision is gonna go with Jeff Albert. And if they believe in Jeff Albert, then it is what it is. So I just hope that there's not a lot of confusion. And from what I'm reading, I don't think that is going to be that much confusion unless Troy Snicker doesn't agree with certain things and has an ego. I don't know. But um, I think when you look at a guy like that's coming from a winning pedigree, Like the Astros, you got to take into consideration his ideas and what he's thinking, because he has seen success.
Right,
So,
right,
but if Jeff Albert is in charge and everything goes through him, I just hope that there is a collaborative, you know,
right.
experience there.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see how that plays out, man. But it's a lot riding on David Stern's pause, especially after what he has said in terms of urgency. And I always use that word because with a team that you had last year, you're expected to make the playoffs, and a lot of the time, a lot of the ways you wanted to bring reclamation projects, this is what you're going to get. So now you talk about urgency, we're expecting urgency. On to more important things in
Mm.
terms of our players. Our two top players in Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso have opted out of their contracts and have the entire fan base shaking in their boots, respected, rightfully so. If you're the Mets and you can't get a deal done with
Oh,
Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso,
oh my god!
what's your pivot move?
If I can't get a deal with none of them,
Either of them. What if you're David Stearns right now, and let's say Edwin Diaz goes to San Diego, right? Because right now they don't got a closer, and let's say Pete Alonso goes to the Yankees. What's your pivot move right now?
I mean, my pivot move is probably going to be to man, man, shoot. That's a hard
It's a tough
question,
one.
but it's a tough one.
It's
It's
a
a
tough
tough
one.
one. But I think I'm gonna go sign Robert Suarez and take their closer. He's gonna be a free agent.
Mm,
Um, is either him or Kenley Jansen. I mean, when it comes to
mm,
closing, not a lot of beautiful options out there. But if there's any pivot, I'm gonna try to sign Robert Suarez to close for my team because we need a closer, and Robert Suarez is a closer. Is he the most amazing closer? Probably not, but
no,
he's
he's not better
pretty.
than Diaz, but
He's not better than Diaz, and Diaz is hands down one of the best. But I need a closer, so I'm gonna go get
right,
Robert Suarez, and I'm gonna go get another setup man, and I'm gonna try to beef up this bullpen. And then the first base. Oof, that's a tough one. That's really a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to. If there's a pivot, I'm gonna go get Josh Naylor. I'm gonna go get Josh Naylor. I'm gonna put him at first base. I'm going. I'm gonna probably try to look at Alex Bregman at third. Maybe Alex Bregman at third and Josh Naylor at first. Brett Beatty at second. Maybe that'll be something. But it's not what you want because you know what you want Pete Alonso back. I want
right,
all these
right.
guys back. I don't think that this is a New York Mets team that like we have money. Like the Mets have money. So why can't they sign him? Pete Alonso, I get it. It's a little complicated, but Edwin Diaz, that should be right away.
Right, right, right. Do you see yourself? I mean, not yourself. Excuse me. Do you see the Mets in a position to where they go the route of getting an Alex Bregman for third base? Now I'm gonna switch it over to third base. Do you think they go out there and get an Alex Bregman, or do you think they stay pat with Brett Beatty? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I love Mark Vientos to death. Every time he hit a home run, I was talking shit. I like Mark Vientos a lot. Here's my thing: there's no way if you're David Stearns, you come out and talk about fucking run prevention for
Yeah.
30 minutes and Mark Vientos isn't your plan. Unless that's your everyday DH. If he's your DH every day, cool. If you're significantly talking about run prevention, I don't see Mark Vientos as part of your plan. It's the same reason why I don't see Bo Bichette. You talk about Metcalf. For some reason, Metcalf believes that Bo Bichette is a great pickup for the Mets if it comes to a possibility. I don't. I understand that he's one of the best hitters in baseball. You look at his numbers; he has a 292 career average. I get it. I understand that, but sometimes I got to deal with the fact that he's not a good defender on the field. So if my president of baseball operations is talking about run prevention, why am I? I don't see them sticking with Mark Vientos. Not that that's what I want. I don't.
Yeah.
I want them to keep Mark Vientos, but I'm trying to think logically based on what my president of baseball operations is saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my question to you is: do you see them pivoting to an Alex Bregman, or do you think that they stand pat with Brett Beatty, who is the better defender than Mark Vientos?
So with third base, obviously Mark Vientos, like you said, run prevention. What we're hearing from our president of baseball operations, he's probably not in the plans to play third base. So, but Brett Beatty was impressive at third base. Overall, your best defensive third baseman is Ronnie Mauricio when it comes to defensive metrics. But Brett Beatty is right there, and he could be one of the best. He could have been in one of the league leaders when it comes to defensive metrics if he would have played a full season. Now,
Right.
I like Beatty. I like his arm. Is not the strongest arm in the world, but he is quick and he can, get it down to first base and, get that quick throw to second base. I think I really saw a lot of versatility from Beatty this year and overall pretty good year offensively. But third base, when it comes to third base, Alex Bregman is a guy that has won. He's coming from a winning pedigree. And if you
Right,
think
right.
about it, if you bring Alex Bregman here and you bring a guy and you're bringing Troy Snicker, a guy who won as well, you're bringing in winners. You're bringing in winners, and maybe that's something that the Mets team needs. I think that the Mets team does need winners. So I would love an Alex Bregman at third base for the Mets. I think this is a guy that overall has a really good offensive approach. Is he the best power hitter in the world? No, but he could probably hit you 25 home runs, bat 270, 280. He was injured. He only played in 115 games last year. I think when it comes to Alex Bregman, I would love to see him at third base. Do I see the Mets trying to get him?
Probably not.
I don't know because it's like he's gonna want a lot of money. He's gonna want a lot of money. He's probably gonna want a
So
lot of years.
okay, so let me
And
ask you this question then. Let me ask you this question then. I gotta go in, right? So we're gonna stick to the Bo Bichette thing real quick. I hate it, but
Boba
I'm gonna play. But I'm gonna play with you for a second. Pause. If you had to choose right now between Bo Bichette and Alex Bregman from a hitting perspective, who would you choose?
Oh, wow. Wow, that is hard. It's
I'm gonna tell you right now who I would go with.
Yeah,
Bregman.
please go ahead.
I'll stick with Bregman.
Okay. Okay.
I'll stick with Bregman.
Wow. Can I ask you why? Why
I'll
are you
stick with
sticking with Bregman over Bichette?
I'll stick with Bregman because he is a little bit of a better defender. I know he's older, but I need to win now. I can't think about my future. This is a guy that is still creating contact. He's making contact at his age. He's still one of the prolific hitters in the game right now, and he brings a championship pedigree that I could have in the corner where I don't have to think about a defensive liability being there. Where I can have a Brett Beatty at second base, where he's not that bad defensively. He's not great, but if we watched this game with these games every day. Brett Beatty was not that bad. And again, until Jeff McNeil is traded, he's gonna play a reliable role at second base, right? Luis Angel Acuna might not be in our opening day roster. it might be just Brett Beatty and Jeff McNeil. So I'll take my
Yeah.
chances with that. But I have somebody in Alex Bregman that is a veteran that can still hit, that is a solid defender in the corner, and he brings a championship pedigree. So where now I could take off the pressure from Mark Vientos because he's still going to play a factor and put him at DH and just let him rake and show off the power that he showed in 2024. Where Bo Bichette, yes, he's younger. I understand that, but he's more injury prone. And he's a really bad defender. And I don't think people take that into consideration because all they look at is the offense and his age. But am I
Yeah.
really going to be dealing about his offense if every time he gets hurt, I got to wait 2, 3 months for him to come back? Because every time he gets hurt, he's out for a long time. I'm in a group chat with a lot of Toronto fans, and that's all they tell me. They love Boucher to death. They praise him a lot, but they say, yo, when he gets hurt, he's out for a lot.
And that could be very concerning. That could be very, very concerning for a baseball team. I mean, if we somehow sign Bichette and we put him in the lineup and then he gets injured, I mean, that's gonna suck. And like you said, if he's gonna be injured for a long time, it's gonna suck even more. I
Right.
think I think who I would pick. Damn, man, because it's I like Bichette. I like his offense, and I feel like he would be perfect offensively for this team. It would give this team a right-handed bat, a guy that you can plug in and put in the second,
Yo,
spot in the lineup.
what up? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so you could put him in the second spot in the lineup overall. And I think, I mean, you got Lindor. Let's say you got Lindor, and then you got Bichette, and then you got Soto, and then you bring back Alonso. I mean, I would love to see a lineup like that. But it's tough. It's tough because I really like Bregman, and I would love a Bregman. So, but if I had to pick one, it's going to be most likely. It's going to be most likely Alex Bregman. Because I think you could put Alex Bregman at third base and you can put Beatty at second base. And then overall, you're giving this lineup a right-handed bat, that a guy that has come from a winning pedigree, a guy that is overall a good hitter and a really good defender. So I would love to see Alex Bregman at third base. I really would. Let me see here. A comment here from Meanwhile in Syracuse. Bo Bichette all day. He's only 28. Yeah, he's only 28. You're right. But is he the better fit for the New York Mets? I don't know. I don't know. But we have an infield, and I'm sick of seeing Nimmo, Soto in the corners. One of them have to move to DH. Get Belly or Tucker. Beatty wasn't a problem. The only outfield looking that yeah, I think when it comes to the outfield, yeah, I think you're right. Nimmo to me is a guy that I would want to move to either DH or overall move in general. But I think Nimmo, he had a good season. He had a good overall season. Was it the most amazing season? Not the most amazing season, but overall had a pretty good season. I mean, he had 20 something plus home runs, 90, I think it was 90 something RBIs. So this is a guy that overall is a talent that you would want on this team, but I don't want Brandon Nimmo to be the cleanup hitter. I don't think Brandon Nimmo should be the cleanup hitter in 2026. So if you put Brandon Nimmo in the sixth spot, and you put, let's say, Alex Bregman in this lineup, and you put him, let's say, behind Alonso, now you have, you have Francisco Lindor, you got Soto, you got Soto, you got Alonso, and then you got Bregman. And I think when it comes to these guys, you haven't seen a real bat behind Pete Alonso. So if I would pick Alex Bregman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, To me, it would only make sense. You talk about run prevention, and then you're gonna get a guy like Bo Bichette, who is literally the top guy. Not I wouldn't say the top guy, but he's another candidate for the complete
Yeah.
opposite of run prevention. So
And,
it
and
wouldn't make
also
any sense
the
to me.
fact that he opted out of 2 more years, 80 million. I
Yeah.
mean, this guy is gonna want like 100 something million. He's probably gonna want like 150, maybe like around there.
Well, Metcalf had him projected at 8 years, 180. So
180, maybe
yeah.
180.
So
I don't know.
I don't.
8 years,
I just
180.
don't. I personally, for yeah, he's a good hitter, but just because you're a good hitter doesn't mean you're warranted 180 fucking million dollars. Like, no, I'm sorry. You're a bad defender. You're always hurt. Nah, bro. You
Oh,
got
you
to be
talking about
more
Bichette?
reliable.
You talking
I'm
about
talking about
Bichette
Bichette.
is
Now,
880.
Bregman, on the other hand, is a little bit different. He's warranted that.
Yeah.
Like, again, you know what I'm saying? I don't really got to question his defense. Shout out to meanwhile in Syracuse, New York. He says, but we have an infield. I'm sick of seeing Nimmo and Soto in the corners. One of them have to move to DH. Get Belly or Tucker. Beatty wasn't a problem. The outfield looking like they were running underwater. Yeah, I honestly agree with you. Here's my problem. The only person that you can move to DH is Brandon Nimmo. Now, Brandon Nimmo, yeah, it would kind of suit him because now he's trying to uppercut more. He's trying to show off his power. But how many of those at bats are going to be home runs? You know what I'm saying? Like how many of those at bats is he going to drive in the gap? So I would just hope that if they're constantly if he's more consistent, he's not consistently striking out, and he's putting the ball in play, then yeah, 100% move him to DH.
I just
At
hope
the same time,
whoever they put at DH needs to be the DH. I don't want to see this platoon DH crap. I don't want to see that. I don't think that is a philosophy that is successful. Where do you see that in the MLB? Who's the DH that is so platoon? Like, where's a platoon DH in the MLB? Who has that? Like, who has that? The Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani. That's the DH. Kyle Schwarber is the DH of Philly. Like, we need one DH and that's it. We don't need another DH. We don't need two freaking platoon DHs. And I don't want to bring back a Starling Marte to take more at bats from younger players. I don't want to do that. So we need
I
just.
agree.
I just think like when David Stearns was when they asked him the question, he was like, "Oh, I don't really have a problem with that. Why not? Why not? Like, what is it? What is it that you
That's
like?
our Pobo.
What is it?
That's
What
our
is it that
Pobo.
you like about the inconsistency of the DH? Because we haven't had a good DH overall. Overall, with the New York Mets, ever since the DH has come to the National League, we haven't had a good DH. Who? Who was the DH? We had JD Martinez. He was good in June. In June, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know who's going to be DH. I don't want to see a Starling Marte and a Jesse Winker. I don't even think that was going to be a good plan. I was
Right.
never a fan of that. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're bringing back Jesse Winker. Oh my God. Oh, he's going to be so good." No, he was like, come on. Look at his career. You think Jesse Winker's an overall great player? You think he's going to be the DH that you need? Like, I just don't see the platoon DH and the need for it. Nah, like I want a singular guy to take charge, get the at bats day in, day out. That's it.
Right. Right. So do you think a situation where they move Nimmo to DH and they bring in a Bellinger to play left field would be suitable?
Oh, I mean, listen, I would love that. I would love that. I think Cody Bellinger is a guy that overall, if you bring him, Cody Bellinger, to this team, a guy that doesn't swing and miss a lot, a guy that overall can play you pretty good defense, has a pretty good arm, has speed, is athletic, can
Right.
play multiple positions because he could play first base too.
Right.
So,
Right.
like,
That's a fact. Right.
a lot of versatility. Overall,
Right.
I would love love a Cody Bellinger at left field, and you put Brandon Nimmo as the DH. Now, what does that do for Mark Vientos? I don't know. He's probably traded.
Right. Right, right. I mean, again, this is where they got to really sit down and really have a conversation. Like, who is going to what moves are they gonna make with that? Because again, those are holes you got to fill.
You're
Those are
right.
holes you got to
You're
fill,
right.
and you cannot come back next year with the same team. You just
No, you
can't.
can't. You
You
cannot.
just can't.
You
You just
cannot.
can't. But you got to bring back again. If they my I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I love Pete to death. I would, bro. I know it's all about the name in the front and not the name in the back. But I love Pete. I'd be more willing to bring back Diaz than sign Pete.
I think Diaz is the heart of the Mets. I
I
think you
agree.
need
I agree.
Diaz. I think you need Diaz. You really who is better than Diaz? He had a
I agree.
1.63 ERA. He
I
is your
agree.
top-notch closer. There is not a better name out there. You can't let you can't let the Dodgers talk to him. You can't let nobody else talk to him. Nobody
No.
should be talking to Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz should be here. Edwin Diaz needs to be here. He loves the Mets. He loves
Yeah.
the Mets. He only opted out because of of probably the players was telling him, "Hey, you should opt out." You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Get your
Hmm.
money, get your security. But this guy, the Mets cannot let go of Edwin Diaz. If they do, I'm gonna lose my trust in David Stearns completely. It's at 35% right now. It's at
Right.
35%. Like
Right.
overall, this team needs to get better. How are we going to get better without Edwin Diaz?
So then I say that to say that if I'm choosing Edwin Diaz over Pete Alonso, the only move we can make is Josh Naylor. And I know people are like, ugh, Josh Naylor. You got to think about it. Yeah, he's not going to give you the power that Pete Alonso gives you, but he's a really good contact hitter.
Yeah.
He's gonna put the ball in play. He's not that bad of a defender as people make it seem like he is. So technically, what am I really losing besides my power? Now, granted, again, people are going to be like, well, where does your power come from? My power comes from Lindor. My power comes from Soto. My power can come from fucking Mark Vientos. If
Yeah.
Mark Vientos is a DH. And if Brandon Nimmo becomes an even more better power hitter than he is right now, why not have put him in that category? So there's a lot of decisions that are gonna need to be made. Certain trades that might have to happen in the offseason to see how this plays out. But there, listen, we're this is very important for David Stearns to get this through. Okay, I'm sure, and we don't know this for sure, but I'm sure Steve Cohen held you in check. Like, yo, bro, this cannot happen again. We need to be a much better team. We need to fucking go out there and we need to make the playoffs consistently, especially when we have Juan Soto on this team. Uh Tasua, I don't know if that I don't I've never seen it before, but he says, "Hey Randy and Randy Martino and David, what's
What's
going
going
on?
on, bro?
Appreciate you." Shout 1096 in here. Appreciate y'all.
What's
My
going
last
on?
thing before we head off, Randy, what's this rotation looking like, brother? And before you answer that question, for those of you that saw, Shota Imanaga has opted out and will be a free agent. Well, I think they declined his option, but either one, I gotta double check that. But he will become a free agent, and that is a big arm, a big lefty arm that is in the market right now. That was at one point rumored to have the Mets were rumored to have interest in him before he signed with Chicago. So, Randy, my question to you is, what do you see the rotation looking like for 2026? And if you're the Mets, do you think that they'll take a shot at Shota Imanaga?
Well, man, I mean, it gotta be better, right? A 2026 rotation has to be better. I think you gotta bring in two starters, minimum. I think you gotta bring two starters minimum. I would start with a Tarek Skubal. I mean, I would go for Tarek Skubal. I think if he's on the market, you got to go for Tarek Skubal. Now we know that Nolan McLean ain't going nowhere. Nolan McLean is not going to be traded for Tarek Skubal. But if they want a Jonah Tong, a Brandon Sproat, maybe a Brandon Sproat, an Acuna, whatever. I think I saw a deal with it was with Brandon Sproat, Acuna. Who the hell was it? It was something on MLB Network. I forgot what it was. It didn't look that bad. I was like, all right, you know what? Listen, at the end of the day, it was Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty was in the deal. So that's tough. But look, Tarek Skubal, if you bring Tarek Skubal in with a Nolan McLean,
Right.
I mean, you're looking at a possible special rotation. And if you sign maybe a Dylan Cease or a Shane Bieber, somebody like that, or a Framel Valdez, I mean,
Right.
you're
Right.
looking at a special rotation. So I think when it comes to the rotation, I think Clay Holmes is going to be here. You know that. Clay Holmes is going to be here. He fished knife in the RA. He was one of the best in the RA. David Peterson, he's probably going to be here too. And then you got Sean Manaea. So I think this is probably going to be a 6-man rotation is what we're really looking at. But my guess or my hope, my true hope is a Tarek Skubal and a Shane Bieber. McLean, Clay Holmes, David Peterson and Sean Manaea. And I'm trading Kodai Senga. I'm trading Kodai Senga. I'm putting them in the bullpen or something. Because I can't. I don't know, man. With Senga, to me, he's just a soft pitcher. He's just, I have some issues with him when it comes to overall, just how soft he is, bro. He's made of glass. He's injury prone, but you got to go for these pitchers. You got to go for these top pitchers. But I get why they wouldn't. Like, let's say I get why they wouldn't trade for Tarek Skubal.
Right.
Like if Nolan McLean was in the deal, because that's not going to happen. Nolan
Right.
McLean ain't
Right.
going nowhere. So, but what I will say is there is no guarantee of the Mets getting Tarek Skubal after, like let's say in free agency. You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantee because we don't know where Tarek Skubal wants to go. So if you trade your prospects for Tarek Skubal and he leaves, it's like it's tough. That's a tough gamble to take. But I feel that if you trade for Tarek Skubal, I'm sure that Steve Cohen is going to do everything in his power to get him. Everything in his power. Because you're getting, first of all, this is the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the game. Him and Paul Skeens are the best pitchers in the game. And I like a Shane Bieber. But you could also go Ranger Suarez, Framel Valdez. You don't like Framel Valdez? You don't like Framel Valdez. He's a good pitcher, man. He's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. But I get it. The age. You probably get in the back half of the contract, and also you're getting a little attitude when it comes to Framel Valdez. But I think you got to get better. Overall, you got to get better. The rotation has to get better.
So let me ask you a question. You don't think they get better with Ranger Suarez?
Yes, I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do. Yeah.
The reason why I asked that question is because I feel like when we talk about adding a starting pitcher to our rotation, which they need to do, people want to bring up Framber Valdez as the number one guy, like the number one option. When
Oh,
I think Ranger Suarez, if they don't get a Tyreek Skubal, is just as good of
as
an
Framel
option for
Valdez.
the Mets. Yes. No, I don't think he's
I don't.
better.
I don't think. I don't.
I think Framber is better. I'm talking about just the option for the Mets.
I don't think Rangers are number one option.
You don't need to be.
I think he's maybe a number two.
He don't need to be. Exactly. But he don't need to be a number one.
That's what I'm saying.
He don't need to be a number one. Yeah, he definitely don't need to be a number one. I promise you that. He does not need to be a number one. Now I'll tell you this. Let's say if they don't trade for Tyree Skubal, my 4 and 5 could be David Peterson and Kodai Senga.
Um,
unless they put him in the bullpen.
you're 4 and 5. You said.
Yes.
Say again. You said
My
David
f-
Peterson
and Kodai Senga
and Cora saying, and what happened? And Sean Manaea.
bullpen. Or you could flip it. Or you could flip it. But I'm not putting Shamanai as my 1, 2, or 3.
Oh no 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 no! Yeah,
No,
Sean Manaea cannot
no,
be.
oh, no,
Sean Manaea cannot be any
no,
part of a 1, 2, 3.
no, 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 no,
No no
no,
no no
no.
no. There's too many
No,
question marks
no,
with this team.
Nolan McLean will be my number 3.
Nolan McLean. Well, yes, that's what I want to see. I want to
That
see.
would be my number 3.
I
Yes.
want to see them get 2 starters and you make McLean a number 3. But obviously, if he pitches like an ace, I mean, you get a plus plus plus. So
I'll tell you one. I'll tell you another one that they should go after. Matter of fact, here it is. And this is if they don't trade for Tyree Skubal. Freddie Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Nolan McLean, David Peterson, Kodai Senga.
you said Valdez.
No, I'm talking about no. I said Freddie Peralta, Ranger Suarez, Nolan McLean, David Peterson, and Kodai Senga. Here's where here's where shit gets interesting. Because you talk about how Kodai Senga is so fragile, why not put Clay Holmes as number 5 and have Kodai Senga come off the bullpen?
Clay Holmes is definitely going to be a part of the bullpen. I mean, a part of the rotation. I know that.
But why not have him as a number 4 or 5? So
You could.
I already have 2 lefties, right? I got my 2 lefties, and I got my righty for number 5, and I got my flamethrowers and my ace. I got my flamethrower as my number 3, right? And my youngin as in number 3, and I got my ace and number 1 and Freddie Peralta.
But is Freddie Peralta really an ace though?
He would still be considered an ace. Absolutely, yes. And I'm just saying that if they don't get Tyreek Skubal.
If they don't, who would you rather have, Freddie Peralta or Sandy Alcantara?
Mm. That's a good question. That's a good question. Off the top of my head, ooh, Peralta,
Really? Freddie
and I, and I
Peralta
lo-
over Sandy?
and I love Sandy, but you know what? Sandy gives up a lot of long balls, and he gets hurt.
Okay. But how many times has he got hurt though overall?
I mean, no. Then again, no. What am I talking about? Nope, nope. I'll take that back. I'll take that back. Nope, I'll take that back. I'm starting to think about it now. I'll take that back. I'm like, no, Sandy's a better pitcher. What am I talking about? He's a way better pitcher. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll take that back. Yo, my bad, y'all. I take that back. I was just thinking about it. Listen, that was a hard one for me because Freddie Peralta is not as bad as people make it out to seem, man.
No,
He's
no, no,
still
no, no, no,
good.
no. Nobody's saying he's bad. Nobody is saying Freddie Peralta is bad. I don't think that he's bad. I think Freddie Peralta is a 1B. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't think he's the 1A. I think he could be the 1B.
Okay.
I like Freddie Peralta. I do. But Sandy Alcantara is, to me, Alcantara, he got better overall stuff, bro. He got better overall.
So what's your package for him then? Because obviously he would have to come here in a trade.
For Sandy Alcantara, I'm gonna probably trade. Um, see, I'm thinking. uh, about what they need because I don't know exactly what they need. I know the pitching, they don't need pitching. They don't need any pitching. They don't. If they have too many prospects for pitching. They got Thomas White. They have another pitcher. They got Edward Cabrera. They got Yuri Perez. They got another lefty. Like it's so many pitches that Miami got. So I don't think pitching is something that they're gonna need. Um, so, but if they do want a pitching prospect, I'm giving them. See, I'm not giving them a Jonah Tong for Sandy. I'm not doing that.
But you don't think Miami's gonna ask for that? You know they're gonna ask for a top pitching prospect, in my opinion.
I think they're gonna ask for it. But are you giving up Jonah Tong for Sandy?
I mean, it depends, brother. You talking about getting the ace now? Now again, you know the asking price is gonna be high. So all right. So how about this, right? And
And
shout
also,
out
it's in the
to
division. It's in the division. So
it's in the division, but how well is Jonathan gonna turn out?
See, that's the thing. I don't know.
See,
I don't know. And
so
also,
here's my question: Are you prospect hugging, or are you gonna take that gamble and say, "Here you go," because we need to win now? I'm just saying, like that. The only for sure that we know is Nolan McLean and a little bit of Brendan Sproat. That's it. Jonathan really wasn't that good when he came up.
I know that, but like there's a reason why the scouts love him. There's a reason why they love him. Um he's young, but he's like he could be special. And that's the thing about it. But look, you need to win now. You need to win now. And if they need Jonathan in the deal for Sandy, then all right.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it,
Well,
but I understand how the business is.
I'm
They're not going to give Sandy Alcantara for just anybody.
like look. Meanwhile, Syracuse said, Vientos Tong and make them eat
Make them
McNeil's
eat McNeil's
contract.
contract. You think they'll do that?
I don't think they'll eat McNeil's contract.
I don't think that
I
they're trying to stay young, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you. As bad as they are as a franchise,
yeah.
they're trying to stay. They're not gonna just take his shit to just eat his contract. Like it's not. I don't think so.
No, you're right, man. I think
I know a team that would probably do it. That would probably eat his contract, and that would probably be the Angels. But the Angels don't have anybody special that we can honestly be like, yo, let's look at what they got. So
I think Jonathan. See, I don't want to give them a Vientos. I really don't. I don't want to give them a Vientos because if we give them a Vientos and Vientos kills us for the next years, we're gonna be pissed off.
I don't want to give them Vientos either. But here that's part of the business. We're gonna have to give somebody valuable because of who Sandy Alcantara is.
Then maybe I'll give them a Jonathan. You're not getting Jet.
No, of course not. No, they're not trading that.
I'll give them a Ryan Clifford.
Okay,
I think Ryan Clifford could fit that team. I think they
I would
can.
do
I
that.
think it could.
I would do that.
Jonathan, Ryan Clifford. Um,
I'll give them
and
I'll give them a
a
little.
Nick Morabito.
I was gonna say Luis Angel Acuna, but okay.
Oh, I'll give them a Nick Morabito. I think a lot of teams like Nick Morabito.
I mean that would work too. That's okay. That would actually work too. That could work. Sorry.
So
That's
I
actually
mean,
pretty
if
interesting.
you get a Sandy Alcantara for that deal, then I mean, why not? I mean, because you're getting Sandy, a guy that could be, I mean, your ace. Like, if you get Sandy, Nolan McLean, and you sign a Ranger Suarez,
Right.
Now, we're talking about a pretty good rotation.
That's a way better rotation than what we had last year. That's way better. And here's another thing too that I think meanwhile in society put. What about Clay? What about Holmes and Canning? They were good. The Holmes, I already addressed that. I think me and Randy both agree he's gonna be in the rotation. Canning, I wouldn't bring back. Yeah, he was good, but we've said enough is enough with the reclamation projects. Like that gotta go. That has to go. We're done with it. We don't need it. He tried it. It worked 1 year. The next year he did it again, and it didn't work. Especially when you got the big fish in Juan Soto, and then we missed the playoffs. I don't need that again. I want to make God. I want to make sure that we have guys in here. We have guys that are we're comfortable with and that are already proven to a certain extent. So that's why Ranger Suarez would make more sense. Sandy Alcantara, even though he hasn't won anything, he's proven that he could be an ace and he has quality stuff. So,
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
look, you got to get better. You got to get better, but I mean, the if you get a Sandy, you get Nolan McLean, you get Ranger, it's a good rotation. But is it the best rotation that you can have? I don't know
I
because
wouldn't
if
say I
you're
wouldn't say it would be the best, but it would be better than what the fuck we had last year.
you're right, you're right. But is it better or is it in contention with a Dodgers rotation?
You're talking about a Sandy as your ace, Ranger Suarez as your number two, Nolan McLean as your number three,
Clay Holmes is your number 4.
Clay Holmes is your number four, and your number
David
five is
Peterson.
David Peterson.
I think it's a good
You know,
rotation.
I think for your 1 through 4, yes,
You think it's
yes.
better than you think it's better or you
No,
think it's
I think your
he's
one
in
through four kind of
contention
stands out. Yeah,
with the Dodgers.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. I mean,
yeah. So that's them being consistent, having good years, being able to go past the innings limit for some of them, going six almost at every start. Now pitchers really don't go even seven, but if you could give me at least six almost every start, I'll take it. So
is there any worry with Ranger Suarez? His health?
no, no, not for me. No, I haven't really paid attention into that, but not for me.
I know he's been injured sometimes before.
Right, right, right.
But he has pitched good.
He
But
has no,
he knows how to pitch. Like he's not like a flamethrower, but he knows how to pitch.
right. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But one last comment before we end it over here. He says where Vientos plays out in a few years can't clog up the H because Nemo Soda and maybe Pete Vientos has no future. I agree. And then again, that's why so many of us want him traded because number one, he has no options, and number two, we just want him to be successful somewhere else where he can develop the right way. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, we appreciate you for joining in, listening to us have the conversations. Appreciate those in the comments, engaging with us. Man, this is the very first episode of Mets on Top. We are in the off season mode right now, so most of the videos that we come out with are probably just hypotheticals, and obviously you know, covering the news that comes out within the offseason for the Mets. We're very intrigued to see what David Stearns is going to do in terms of moves, in terms of restructuring the roster, how aggressive he's going to be since he spoke about urgency and how they're going to fix this team. It should be a pretty interesting offseason this year. But my guy, Randy, any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
Nah, man. I mean, overall, thanks for having me on the first episode of Mets on Top. I think when it comes to the Mets, we know that the Mets, at the end of the day, we want them. That's where we want them to be on top.
Yeah.
We want them to be on top. So that
Pause.
is all.
Right,
Pause.
right. Yeah, yeah. I'm so
The
used to
Mets.
saying it. I'm so used to saying it because of the Pope. Shout out to Queens baseball, by the way. But I'm so used to saying it because of him.
Yo, that's funny. No, you're right. But yeah, we want them to be on top. The Mets are on top. So I think you want them to win. And we just want to see more move. I mean, obviously, we want to see some moves. Today there was like a little move, but that was like a Tampa Bay pitcher, um, and they're already calling him Dumpster Dave again and all that. You're gonna hear a whole bunch of crap when it comes to this offseason. But I think the two most intriguing, guys is gonna be Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso. Like, though, you got to bring back you got to bring back Edwin Diaz, right? And you got to bring back Pete Alonso. But yeah, I'm going to be pissed off, bro. I'm going to be pissed off if they don't bring back Edwin Diaz. Like, I can't even imagine a world without the Mets and Edwin Diaz. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. So that's like it's going to be like a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would lose like a guy like, I'm not gonna say he's Mariano Rivera, but he is so important to the Mets' success. So, but we got to get better. But it starts with those two. It really starts with those two, and I'm sure you'll hear a whole bunch of things about those two. Scott Boras' client with Pete Alonso. You're gonna hear stuff about Pete Alonso. But we just got to get better at the end of the day. But you can follow me on Randy Talks Mets on TikTok, Randy Talk Mets on the Twitter, YouTube, Randy Talks Mets. And yeah, appreciate you having me, my guy.
Yeah, bro. I mean, Randy's gonna be on as a co-host, so you'll see a lot of Randy as we put out more videos. Again, I put his accounts in the description, so make sure you guys shoot my guy a follow everywhere. Like I always say, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Top Bunk Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you guys follow Top Bunk Sports on X, Instagram, and TikTok, as we keep putting out more info as we go. For my Nick fans out there that are watching, make sure you guys check out my videos on Knicks on Top at Top Bunk Sports. And let's keep this thing rolling. Again, our very first video of the off season. So many things already coming out that we have discussed, and so many hypotheticals already. What would an off season be without some stupid hypotheticals? I mean, you seen the Bo Bichette, that should already tell you. So yeah, but we appreciate the hundreds that are in here. We will catch you guys on episode 2 of Mets on Top. I am your guy, David from Top Bunk Sports, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.